Hi, host Eric here, host talking with Spanish people. I am saddened slash okay with the fact that I do not have my phone with me, trying not to crash. Once again, setting up the camera as I'm driving, of course. Because, well, how else would you set it up, Eric? How else could you even? Is it even possible to do it any other way than that? I don't even know. I don't think so. I can't imagine why there would be another way to do it. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Anyhow, this video is about NE, but specifically it's about how my other quadrant mates would approach one situation in different ways. And here's the situation. The situation is I had these thongs, and then in typical fashion with these thongs, they both broke in the same way. This thing pulls out, pulls through the hole, and then the hole gets looser and looser, and it pulls out more and more easily. Okay, so that's the situation. Now, here's what I did. First, I lived with it for a while until I was running across the street, running across Rosemead, and they both came off, like one right after the other, and I was just like, fuck these things. Alright, so, but here's the thing, I didn't ignore it until then. Prior to that, I had thought to myself, well, I had done multiple things prior to that. I had looked for a washer, not very hard that I looked for. It wasn't where I kind of expected it to be and wanted it to be, and so then I kind of gave up on that. You know, like poked around a little bit and gave up. A metal washer that I was going to try to squeeze through the bottom of the thing, which would be kind of ideal to get the right exact size washer. That's small hole and wide flat part. Anyway, and then I thought to myself, well, Eric, that's stupid anyway. Stupid. T.I. is telling me this. Just go buy another fucking pair of thongs from Walgreens. You're going to Walgreens pretty soon anyway. Why don't you pick them up when you're there? And I went to Walgreens. And I had to wait to talk to the pharmacy lady. And so I was just pacing around the store. I saw the flip-flops, but I was annoyed by having to wait. And I didn't feel like buying them while I was waiting, which is the only sensible thing to do, or it didn't occur to me. Until it was basically my turn to go to the pharmacy. Then I thought I should have bought those while I was waiting. And then I went to the pharmacy. Then as I was walking out, I said to myself, you should buy those before you leave the store. And I was like, nah, I should have bought them when I was waiting. Then I ran across the street and they both came off. Then I got home and I got the duct tape out because I was so frustrated at not having any. I had no shoes that were easy to wear and stuff, right? I got the duct tape out and I fixed them both. But I don't like it. It's not as comfortable. It makes my toes feel in. So, what are you going to do about it, Eric? Well, the only sensible thing to do is to buy new thongs. But here's what I did. I was sitting in the bathroom. I didn't do anything yet, right? I was on my way to take a shower and then to go to work, which is what I'm doing right now. And I was pooping. And I was looking at my thongs on the floor, which I had taken off my feet. Now that my bathroom's super clean, I feel comfortable with my feet on the floor. And I started looking at my thongs and I thought to myself, well, what you should do, Eric, because you don't like the way the tape feels underneath your toes, you got these aprons that you use as rags, basically, the canvas left behind. This box of aprons. Why don't I cut out some cloth in the shape of this thing and then sew the cloth on the top of the rubber thing, through the rubber thing, and on the top of it, so there's a nice soft cloth part where I put the set on instead of this annoying duct tape. I need to buy a new pair of thongs. I do not need a complicated plan like that. So as I'm thinking that, after I'm thinking through this, like, oh, I could go, I know where the thread and needle is. I'm pretty sure it's still in that one place. I should go, it's there. I can just get it out and cut that out real quick. And then I thought to myself, Eric, you're about to take a shower and go to work, and you had to poop, okay? So yeah, there was nothing. You have to stay and look at nothing for a second. And your way to use that time is to come up with a plan to do something that realistically would probably take like 30 or 45 minutes or an hour once you get it, once all the many unforeseen pitfalls occur. Trying to make this little project happen after you get done with the shower, having apparently completely forgotten it. You need to go to work or what? What's going on here, Eric? And then I thought to myself, well, you're being so typically NE dumb. And then it made me think about the YouTube channel. And I thought about how I would like to make this video that I'm currently engaged in the part that I had roadmapped out basically while sitting on the toilet and then in the shower. I was still thinking about this video and but of course, the initial idea, which was simply that this response to broken thongs is typically NE. Well, that evolves quite a bit. It evolves into the fact that the NE is demonstrated not only by the fact that I didn't get the thongs when I should have gotten them, is not only by the fact that I've got these crazy plans of things I could do with these thongs, not only by the fact that they're ill-timed and run contrary to something else I have to do during that time period. You know, so it's like I've got mutually exclusive ideas. And not only for all of those reasons, but most of all, because once the metacognition is turned on, once the understanding of the cognitive functions is turned on, then what happens? Well, I had that same exact situation. All that shit happened. And now I have a big video explaining why all that shit happened. And so instead of all that NE nonsense going to waste, that NE nonsense is now exemplary of NE nonsense. It's potentially useful to others. It's a pivot around which I can make hopefully an entertaining video and hopefully an informative video. It's a particle of sorts that informs my understanding of the self and other and cognitive functions and how that shit all works together, insofar as I then began in the shower to start thinking about how another type would deal with it differently. For example, if I had FE in the dominant slot, I would never have bought these thongs in the first place, these super cheap thongs, because I'm going to be concerned about my outward appearance and how I come across. The only reason I might have these in theory would be if I was like surprised by a beach trip and had to buy a pair of thongs or something like that. But I wouldn't, even if that were the case, I'd try to buy something, you know, either cute or handsome accordingly. And I care about that because I'm concerned about other people's emotions, and I know that's a vector that I can achieve some good outcomes with working, right? I'm prioritizing that as my top priority, so it makes sense for me to attend to all the details of it. So they're never going to have the problem, and they're never going to have the opportunity to resolve the problem differently because they're never going to buy the shitty flip-flops in the first place. When their flip-flop does break, they're going to throw it away and buy a new one probably, because after FE, if they're ESFJ, they've got SI, and the sensible thing to do in the past when you have broken something and you needed a solution was to buy a new one, right? Or get it fixed by like something expensive maybe, or like a fix-it company or whatever. But, okay, now let's say you got NI in the second slot. Well, then I don't know what you're likely to do, but I think you're going to be driven by FE regardless, which is I need to get something that looks nice and that impresses people, so you're going to go out and buy something that's nice and new anyway, just for aesthetic reasons, even if your old flip-flops aren't even broken, and they just look old, right? Okay, so that's how FE is going to deal with the same situation. SI, Dom, ISFJ, they're going to obviously just go buy new flip-flops. You know, and they'll do that every time, and they'll maybe even learn to anticipate when the flip-flop is wearing thin and buy it before it actually wears out. They're not going to wear it once it's broken, probably. They're going to remember, oh, last time I tried to wear it when it broke, it just annoyed me. I'm not going to do that again. And then they learn not to do that, and they just repeat that over and over again. What if you've got TI in the dominant slot? Well, you're certainly probably not going to be, you're not going to task NE with such a inconsequential matter. You'll go to SI and do the easy way, which is find the flip-flops, throw those ones out. Or if it's really easy to fix them and your SE isn't giving you too many problems, then maybe you'll do like what I did, like duct tape and fix it, something like that. Your TI might, it depends how your TI is directed. If it's thinking, this is quick and easy, there's no reason to go buy them, it's going to take me longer to drive out there and buy them, then you might fix them like I did. If you're thinking is, I'm going to the store anyway, I might as well just pick up new ones, I don't want to deal with this, it's not worth my time, then, you know, you just go buy new ones. Or you see them, try to remind yourself, when I see those in the store, I gotta pick those up. When you get there, you're involved in TI stuff, you're not walking around being constantly distracted by possible nonsense. What was I thinking about prior to going to take a poo? And my thongs launching what's now an hour-long or so total process of thought, analysis, action, etc. All because my thong broke. And yet, despite all of this action, all of this productive behavior is being accomplished here, what is one thing that has not been fixed or addressed at all? I still have the same fucking thongs. I still have the same goddamn problem with them. Can you believe that shit? Thanks for watching Talking Fantasy.